Hey friends, it's time to celebrate fall for 2021, hosted by the Bargain Bluebird. Links to Bargain Bluebird's channel and the playlist will be in the description box. For my first DIY, I'll be making pumpkin bread, and I start out just by making my box cake the exact same way that the instructions say, with a cup of water, the third cup of butter, and 3 eggs. I already put my eggs into my mixing bowl, then I add my water. Then I go ahead and I add my softened 1/3 cup of butter into my mixing bowl. And I kind of mix my eggs around a little bit before adding my dry cake mix. Then a few dashes of cinnamon to kick up the flavor a bit, but never more than a tablespoon. And I'm having to use my hand whisk because my powered mixer broke, so it's a struggle today. And then I mix in about a handful of chopped nuts. Here I'm just using a 1/4 cup of chopped pecans. Empty the canned pumpkin into the batter mix. Mix my pumpkin into my batter until it looks like it's really thoroughly mixed. Let me know in the comments, what are some of your favorite fall recipes? Oil my loaf pan very well with this olive oil spray. So then I just pour my batter into my oiled pan, and I do end up with a little bit of excess, and I just place that into 2 miniature loaf pans, place them in the oven at 375 degrees for 50 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean when you insert it in the middle. And this is the result, my beautiful pumpkin bread. The full recipe will be in the description box if anybody would like to make it at home. Smells wonderful and it tastes delicious. This is one of our favorite fall time treats. We like it this way or the pre-boxed pumpkin bread mix. Either way, it's delicious. And here are just a few examples of some beautiful budget-friendly DIYs that you'll find when you go to Bargain Bluebird's channel. Please check her out. I recently found these placemats at Dollartree, but I only found 2 of the leaves and 2 of the buffalo plaid and gather, but that's okay. I'm going to put these together and make 2 reversible pillows. There'll be no sew, so just put them together with a bit of hot glue and use some polyfill from a few old pillows, and that will be reversible pillows. First, I'm going to try to line them up because everything is not the exact same size at Dollar Tree. And there is a little bit of a difference right here. So I started at the top seam line, adding my hot glue, and I placed hot glue all the way around on 3 edges until I got to the spot where the placemats really didn't line up that well. Right here is where my seam does not exactly match up. The oak leaf placemat is just a little bit bigger, so I'm going to just try to hold this together the best I can. And hopefully when I stuff it, it won't really look too bad. Just gonna try to pinch the plaid fabric and pull it over. Kind of stretch it out. And now it doesn't look so bad. So now I put my stuffing inside. This is polyfill from an old pillow. Whenever we purchase new pillows, I take the old ones and remove all of the polyfill and keep them in a large plastic bag for these types of DIYs. So I just continue adding my hot glue to my seams and pressing them together so that I can finish off the final bit of my pillow. Repeat the same steps for my next two placemats, even though I didn't film it. I love that these pillows will be reversible, so if we want to just have it on the leaves one day, or we can flip it over and have it on the gather side, there's options for the decor. I love it. So for this DIY, I'm using 2 of these yard stakes that have this sticker on the front. Go ahead and remove the sticker. I was hoping it was just a piece of paper with just a little bit of glue and then I could just pull it up, but it's actually a large sticker. With a little scraping and a wet rag, I finally got the sticker off the first one. The second one came off rather easily, and then I had to pull the stakes off, and of course the first one gave me trouble. The second one was attached a little bit differently, but that one eventually popped off, and then I moved on to paint. I'm using a white matte apple barrel paint, and I paint both sides of both pumpkins. Now that paint is dry on both sides, I have these Mackenzie Childs napkins that I purchased on Amazon, and I'm going to decoupage them onto both of my pumpkins. I just have to separate my layers. And with the size of this napkin, one will work for both pumpkins. So I'm just going to cut my napkin in half and then apply a matte Mod Podge and start to apply the napkin to the pumpkins. I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. I love to have you on board, and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I upload. I post a new video weekly. I push the wire leaf up just a tad more so that I can fit my napkin under and cover the top of the pumpkin, and then I just start pressing down with my fingers and using my brush, especially around the edges, so I can really get the curves of the pumpkin. I used the paintbrush and my fingers to tear away the paper around the edges of the pumpkin. After both pumpkins had the napkins applied and the Mod Podge had dried, I applied a top sealing coat to both pumpkins. Then I applied a black acrylic paint to the stem and a few accents to the leaves on both pumpkins, and I found this paint at this really exclusive store called Target. Then I start to mix paint. I have ivory Waverly paint and a khaki from Apple Barrel, and I'm mixing these together because I don't have an off-white paint, so I'm going to use these to paint my wooden connector pieces to form my centerpiece. And this wood came from Dollar Tree, the Crafter Square area, the wood planks. I haven't seen them since last year, but Walmart does carry the exact same wood. And then I use a gold paint marker to fill in some lines on the stem and the leaves while my wood was drying. And then I took the same marker to go around the edge of both pumpkins. And once my wood was dry, I wanted to attach them, and I'm using epoxy that I found at Dollar Tree. This is a quick hold epoxy that sets up in about 5 minutes, and you just mix it until it gets a little cloudy and then apply it. So when I applied it to my wood, before I put it onto the pumpkin, I realized that I didn't scrape off the paint because I wanted to really get the wood stuck to the base metal. So I just used my scissors to scrape off a bit of paint. Then once I applied the pieces together, I just added some things to help support the wood until the epoxy started to cure. I repeated the same step for my second wood plank. I applied more epoxy on the other end once the first two pieces had set up so I could attach my second pumpkin, but there was a problem. So I noticed that it was just a little bit off. So I pulled it apart, scraped, because I had forgotten to scrape off the white paint, put more epoxy and reset both sides so that it wasn't looking kind of wobbly. And this is where we are after all the epoxy dried. It's not having that kind of wonky shape to it, and now I can add craft sticks for the bottom. I started by snipping one end of the craft stick so I would have a even edge, and just laid it on the other end and marked where I needed to cut, and I used that as my template to cut all of my other pieces that would form the bottom. My pieces all cut, I applied Gorilla Wood glue to the bottom of my wood planks and then started to lay my craft stick pieces down to form the floor of the centerpiece. My last piece, I just glued it right on top. I didn't try to snip it because these pieces tend to splinter, but looking back, I guess I could have tried to score it, but it's already glued down now. So I just used some masking tape to hold my wood pieces down after the glue was applied. And this is how the floor of the centerpiece looks with the glue completely dry. And now I'm moving on to the side. I want to add just a bit of decoration on the side. So I'm going to apply strips of masking tape to create stripes on the side. With my tape down, I pull up every other one so that I can apply black paint. And this is that same exclusive Target Dollar Spot paint. Now the ever satisfying paint tape pull. Then I decide to repaint the stem and the leaf. The stem will get a coat of pure gold from folk art, and the leaf will be black and white with gold accents. And just a little gold on the leaf, and this project is complete. I think it came out so pretty. Tell me, what do you think of my Mackenzie Childs inspired fall centerpiece? And here's a look back at my other projects I made today. Please enjoy the entire playlist. There are a lot of talented creators.